Dear learner, good day. People have been asking me which type of software I am using. So let me address that. This is GeoGebra, the brainchild of Marcus Hohenwalter. It is an open resource and hence you can download it online for free. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Before I answer some questions on this graph you see on the screen, the graph of the function f of x equals bracket open x plus 1 bracket close squared minus 4. If you've really watched the video I posted recently, then I beg of you to answer these questions for me before we all answer it together. Look at the question and answer everything so that whilst we answer it together, you compare your answers. There is a saying that practice makes perfect. I beg of you again to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos. Let me read the question to you. From the graph, find the range of values of x for which a, y is greater than 0, b, y is greater than or equal to 0, c, y is less than 0, and d, y is less than or equal to 0. These are the questions I want you to answer yourself, and these are the questions we are going to answer together. So pause the video, do it before we do it together. I hope you are done. So let's do it together whilst you compare answers. If you are asked to find the range of values of x for which y is greater than or equal to 0, this is how we do it. You already know that above the x-axis, those there have positive y values. So we have two parts of the graph showing upward, the left hand side and then the right hand side. So when we look at our first point, we have -4 giving y value of 5, which is positive, and then satisfy the equation. So write -4 down as part of your answer. Then when we move to the second point, we have -3 having a value of 0, which also satisfies the condition here. So you write -4 first on the left and then -3 on the right. In between them, you write your x because they are values of x. Now, you decide either to use less than or greater than at the left hand side or at the right hand side, and either to use greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So For the left hand side, we have x greater than or equal to -4, because -4, which is the s value, gave a positive value of 5, which satisfies the condition here. That's why it is included. Then, less than or equal to -3. That is also included because -3 gave a y value of 0, which satisfies the condition. Therefore, in the inequality form, we write x is greater than or equal to -4, but less than or equal to -3. And in the interval notation form, we write close bracket -4, comma, -3 close bracket, because those two values, -4 and -3, are included in the answer. That's why we have the close brackets. But whilst the left side has been dealt with, don't forget the right hand side, because the answer should be 2. On the left hand side, the point to be considered first is the one on the x-axis. 1 has a y value of 0, so it satisfies the condition here, because the condition here says that when it is 0 or above 0, it should be accepted. So write 1 on the left hand side. Then our next point, which is the last point, we have 2 having a y value of +5, which also satisfies the condition. Therefore, write 2 at your right hand side. Then, time to make decision. Which inequality sign to use at the left hand side and which sign to be used at the right hand side. So, we have all the values being included because those values satisfy the condition, which is read as x is greater than or equal to 1, but less than or equal to 2. This is the inequality form. And if you want to write it in the interval notation form, then we have close bracket 1, 2 close bracket. And whilst we have these close brackets or open brackets have been dealt with in one of our videos. So go back and watch those videos if you have not watched them. Our next thing is to find the range of values of s for which y is greater than 0. This means that the number, the y value should be greater than 0, like even 0.1, 0.2, 0. Something, or a whole number 1, 2, 3 upwards. So when the y value is 0, it would be written as an answer, but it wouldn't be included. So now you go to the left hand side again. Our first point, -4 has a value of 5, which is greater than 0. So you write -4 at the left hand side. Then our next point, we have -3 giving us 0, which does not satisfy the condition, because the condition says the y value should be greater than 0. So we may write both. Write the negative 3 at your left hand side. Write x in between them because they are values of x, and you make your decision which inequality sign to use. We have x is greater than or equal to negative 4 but less than negative 3. Negative 3 is excluded. Why? Because negative 3 has a value which is 0, which is not above 0. It is exactly 0. And the condition says we should find those with y values greater than 0. If you want to write it in the interval notation form, negative 4 is included, so we have our close bracket, and negative 3 is excluded. That's why we have open bracket. Then we move to the right hand side, and there too 1 is excluded from the answer because 1 has a y value of 0, whilst 2 has positive 5, which is above 0. So we have 1 written first and at the left hand side, and the last point which has s value of 2 also written but at the right hand side. Then we read it as x is greater than 1 but less than or equal to 2. In the interval notation form, because 1 is excluded, we have open bracket, and because 2 is included, we have close bracket at the end, and the two values written separated by a comma. If you are asked to find the range of values of x for which y is less than or equal to 0, this means that when we have any of the points with y value being 0 or any negative number, it should be accepted. From the graph, we can see that down the x-axis, the points there have their y values being negative, with the exception of the points that lie on the x-axis that has y values being 0. So this saying that y less than or equal to 0 means that those with y values being 0 should be accepted as part of our answer. Therefore, we have negative 3, which should be written, and then we can see that the next point has negative 2, negative 3, the y value is negative. The other one, negative 1, negative 4, y value negative. The other point, 0, negative 3, y value being negative. And then the last but 1 point, 1, 0, the y value being 0. So we pick the s value, which is negative 3, and we write it at the left hand side, and then the last but 1 point on the x-axis, which is 1, 0, we write the x value along, which is 1, at our right hand side. You place the x in between them and you decide which inequality sign to use. So we have this as our answer. X is greater than or equal to negative 3 but less than or equal to 1. Because the question is as the condition accepts y to be 0, that's why we included negative 3 and positive 1. Then if you need the answer in the interval notation form, then you write this. Let me tell you that you don't write both answers. Write one of them. If it is exams, quiz, and so on, don't write both answers. Then, for the range of values of x for which y is less than 0, we would write these same x values, but now because -3 has y value of 0 and 1 has y value of 0, and the condition says it should be less than 0, we would exclude those x values in our answer. So we have this x greater than -3 but less than 1. And then the interval notation form, open bracket, -3, 1, open bracket, to show that those values are not part of our answer. My dear learner, I hope you had more than 50% of the question I gave you correct. If you had any of them wrong and you still don't understand why, re-watch the video and find out why. This video, I beg of you to subscribe to the channel. And this ends our lesson for today. May God be with you all till we meet again on this same medium. Bye.